Firemanship is fast approaching. It is almost here. If you were there last year, you know how amazing it was. If you've been involved with Firemanship, you know how amazing it is. And so it is coming up in July 14th through the 18th. Man, get registered. If you're not, why not? It's in Aurora, right outside of Chicago. It's an amazing, amazing experience. Here's the deal. I am teaching 2 days of workshop, the same workshop 2 days in a row on Thursday and Friday. But right now, registration is extremely low for those 2 workshops. It is the Culture Forge. It is the class that me and Sam and Rob Fisher have been building, working on, putting on. It's an amazing class. If you've been a part of it, then you know all about the teams, the mascots, the spaghettis, the value building, the Lego. You know what it's about. And it's the class I always wanted to attend. And that's the class that I built. And it's an amazing time. But the problem is I'm gonna have to pull the plug on it if people don't register for it. So that being said, go and register for the Culture Forge so that it can happen. If not, I get it. Life is life. Go register. I'll see you at Firemanship.
In the demanding world of firefighting, training against real-world scenarios is crucial. Yet traditional training facilities often fall short in providing realistic, versatile, and cost-effective training solutions. Affordable Drill Towers presents a groundbreaking solution. By positioning an affordable drill tower alongside your existing Connex boxes burn buildings, a realm of realistic, multi-level training scenarios is unlocked. This integration has been adopted successfully by various fire departments, enhancing their training capabilities exponentially. Delve into the heart of live fire training scenarios within the Connex boxes, now amplified by the ADT's multi-floor access, providing an unparalleled training ground.
We started looking at Connex boxes about probably 10 years ago. To me, you can't beat them, especially for the price. The Affordable Drill Tower was the same way. We've got 6 floors, we've got standpipes on every floor, we've got more anchor points than you can count, we've got removable floors, removable stairs. We can go into the 2nd and 3rd floor off the drill tower, so whether you want us to use it as an external stairwell or a high-rise, we can do all that and mimic just about any type of situation that the members of the fire department might encounter.
Experience cost-effectiveness, enhanced realistic training, versatile operations, easy multi-floor access, and innovative solutions to age-old training challenges. Take your fire department's training to the next level with Affordable Drill Towers. Reach out to Affordable Drill Towers to elevate your training capabilities today.
Welcome, everybody, to the weekly scrap number 300. My name is Scott Thompson, and I'm here with my co-host, Rob Fisher. We have a great show tonight. We are so excited to be honoring the Corley Moore, the founder of the weekly scrap. Corley, 300, that is truly impressive. We have a lot of fun things tonight, brother, but we want to welcome you to the show, and thank you for allowing us to do this.
Oh man, thanks for doing it, first of all, and second of all, I don't know if I've ever been as nervous as I am right now.
Well, relax, brother. We're going to have a fun time, and we're starting off. Congratulations on your retirement, and congratulations on number 300. This is a really exciting time. We got a great group of listeners joining in live, and we're going to get right to it. So we want to start off first and recognize the sponsors, pay a couple bills. Rob?
I got it, Chief. Here we go. You spoke, Snap Tight listened. Built with you in mind, the newly launched American-made Supreme 2 is designed to perform at low and high pressures. With Supreme 2, you can count on improved packing and kink resistance, making it a game changer for all municipal firefighting needs and price points. Now offering guaranteed shipping and 28-day lead times, Visit snaptighthose.com to learn more or find a distributor near you. And that's not the only sponsor, because this is an important stuff here. The next one, this is a big one. This one's been around for a long time. Affordable drill towers. On a mission to bring you cost-effective and versatile training props like the affordable bailout prop, which allows you to practice. You know, Corley, this is tough sometimes. Reading this, you do a great job. I just got to say this. You do a really good job. Which allows you to practice window bailouts, ladder bailouts, and ladder high point rescues. Then they make the affordable standpipe prop. Of course they do, which you can roll into the classroom for standpipe theory, then roll it into the parking lot and pump realistic flows and pressures. From one of the best with more than 60 drill towers installed, the affordable drill tower comes in several configurations and comes standard with the standpipe system. Choose one or two sets of stairs integrated into your existing Connex boxes for multi-story access or freestanding on a slab. All models are NFPA 1402 compliant and gain UISO credit, which is important. The only thing that you can't do in an affordable drill tower is what, Corley?
Live fire training.
You can't do live fire training in it, but that's it. Call Steve at 844-55-TOWER or drop an email to info@affordabledrilltowers.com. And we have another one.
You're killing it. I just want to say you're killing it.
I'm feeling good about this. Visit firestationfurniture.com. They provide a complete line of quality furniture for your firehouse. Firefighter owned and operated, they understand the strain firefighters put on furniture and offer furniture that's built to last. Visit www.firestationfurniture.com.
Rob, outstanding. Hey, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. But before we get started, we want to send a little love out to Chief Kirk Isaacson. He's got a few struggles going on. We're with you, brother. We love you. We've kind of been in the same place that you've been in, and we respect you for doing what needs to be done. Rob, you have anything you want to chime in on that, or Corley, before we move on?
I think I'll just say that typically Ike is the 50s and the 100s.
Yeah.
And this was a little special project ahead of time. So this has really nothing to do with Ike taking care of himself, but Ike will be back. I know that. Ike will be back, and he's in a good place, and he's got a lot of support. So we're all behind you, brother. And when you get to see this, we'll be smiling together.
I can't wait for him to be back leaning into the camera and yelling at us here on the scrap, as it should be. So
we love you, pal.
100%.
So we have something special we want to do right now. Corley has a member of his organization that they've been raising some money for, and we have a little raffle that we want to conduct as we start things off. Corley?
Hey, Sam, pull it up. Sam's going to pull up the wheel. People have been purchasing raffle tickets. Woods Forcible Entry donated this door. We had a guy go through the roof on a vertical. He was doing vertical ventilation, went through the roof. He got burnt he suffered some pretty significant injuries. He's going to they're not life-threatening. He will absolutely, but there is significant injury that he has to overcome. And there's not a lot of details still as the recovery process is ongoing, and it's going to be a long, tough road. And so Woods Forcible Entry put this prop up. They said they will ship it anywhere in the United States. I believe continental United States might be the fair thing to say there. And there are people who joined this raffle from Canada and Australia, and if they manage to win, then we'll figure that out as it goes. But all that being said, I want to say there was pushing 170 entries for this door, so we raised close to $8,000 for my injured brother at the MFD, our injured brother. And so, Sam, when you're ready, Will is on the screen. He is spinning it. I'm trusting Sam because I can't see it. There it is.
I can't see it either.
No, it's popped up. Nolan. Number one?
Nolan.
And that was given out because the number he wanted was taken, and I gave it to the lowest number.
Wow.
Hey, go ahead and spin again for an alternate, just in case there's any sort of issues with, I know Nolan, so I don't think there'll be any issues. The alternate. Brian. All right. congratulations. Big thanks for Woods Enforceable Entry because it did raise a ton of money for him. And congratulations, Nolan, on the win. So there we go. Number one. What's the odds? Okay, that's back to you. What's the odds? Congratulations.
Outstanding, brother. Now, Corley, you will notice there's a couple gifts by your side there. I'm sure you're wondering what's in them. And instead of making you wait through the entire scrap, these are from the Vigilantes. So go ahead and open them up. Let's see what we got.
Small one first.
Small one is first. Okay.
Small one first.
I got me a box knife here.
Always prepared here on the scrap.
No doubt.
Box knife ready to go. Paper sack ready for notes. We're ready to go.
I'm trying to figure out where the tape is all at. Oh. I guess I can read. I guess I can show you and read instead of staring at it. Presented to Chief Corley Moore, leader of the Firehouse Vigilantes, in recognition of the 300th episode of the Weekly Scrap, with deep appreciation for your relentless pursuit to battle complacency, ignite passion, and elevate the craft of every firefighter. For living the creed, we do this for others. Push, train, learn, master ourselves. Never easy, never quit.
Never easy.
That is killer. You guys are amazing. You guys
Beautiful.
are amazing. That is awesome. And it'll go on the wall. Oh, really? Good Lord. What are you guys up to? And this thing is massive.
Okay.
So give me 1 second.
Well, when you say massive, Corley, how massive is it? I mean, can you give us some dimensions?
I would say it's
The
about
listeners can't see it.
3 feet by 3 feet by about 2 inches in depth. I mean, I'll pull it up here in a second. I promise.
You know, Scott, I feel like parents watching our kids open up
Christmas morning.
I kind of feel like Christmas morning.
Remotely.
Oh, smokes. Hold on. It's all wrapped up in bubble wrap. It feels like it's a big metal. It might be a Spartan shield. That's a joke.
What?
Holy crap.
Wow.
Who had... Holy smokes. I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah, keep
Oh,
it right
brother.
there. That's
Dude.
good.
Perfect. That's awesome, man.
Look at the depth. Yeah. Yeah, I will. Hold on. Let me set this down because I don't want to fling it. The depth. I don't know if you can see the depth on it. It's made up of layers. It's like it's. I'm sorry. That's unreal.
That's awesome, brother.
That is unreal. Hold on. I'm gonna set this down, and then I will look at the box. Oh.
Hey, Corley, the reason why we need to cover this is that this company did a lot of work to make sure we got it in time and put it ahead of some other projects. So we want to make sure we give them a little bit of a nod.
No, 100%. I just tried. I wish I had glasses or a cell phone with a light on it. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, this is good.
Premier Metal Art out of Iowa, Eldridge, Iowa. Premier Metal Art.
Shout out to Premier Metal Art.
Well, I'm just telling you, I haven't got to examine it like in detail, but the freaking craftsmanship on it is unreal. So I don't know what to say other than thank you. That's amazing, Vigilantes. That's unreal. I don't know who spearheaded that, and I'll just leave it with a big giant thank you. Thank you. All right, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I want to add something else to it. I mean, your wife Amanda, she's a huge sponsor of you, supporter, I should say, not sponsor, supporter of you. She's like the number one promoter. I got to tell you. I mean, when we're out at conferences, she's always promoting. And the cool thing is, she put out on social media yesterday. Her love language is coffee, and she put out on social media that she was buying coffee for everybody. And like life would have it, she had a code. So those of you who don't know, but she had a code out there for today to buy coffee. And one single person in Missouri found this code, bought a coffee cup, and then put all the money on a gift card. Just a total
D-bag.
Yeah, D-bag. And so what I want to say is every good deed needs another good deed. And so my wife and I, we're going to match what Amanda was going to do. And most of the listeners here, go to the Firemanship Conference. You're going to be there. Chief Thompson's going to be there. We're all going to be there. And what we're going to do is there's a great coffee shop right across the street, and we're going to match that. And we're going to buy coffee for those that are at Firemanship Conference.
Oh, killer.
And Pam and I are going to jump in and do the same thing. So everybody there is going to be hyped up on coffee. So we're there with you.
Amanda keeps on giving.
Yeah. So we didn't want that to go sideways, and want to make sure it continues. So hopefully we can get you and Amanda there, and we'll just be there drinking coffee and enjoying it. So
that's amazing, man.
Thank you, Amanda, for the attempt. Just too bad society got in the way.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
Okay.
So Corley, go ahead.
Go ahead, Chief. No, go ahead.
Corley, when we set this up, we were going to kind of model it after the weekly scrap as you do it, but we had so much love come in. We've got a couple videos that we want to share throughout the show tonight. So we're going to start out with a couple here. We've got one from Amanda and one from Chief Leeb that we'd like to start out and show you.
Oh,
play it, Sam.
300 episodes of the weekly scrap, week after week. Wow. Holy cow, are we the lucky ones? Corley, we often talk about legacy in our home, and it starts right here at home. And you, my love, are living proof of how powerful that legacy can ripple out into the world. Tonight is one of those moments where I just need to pause and say, look at everything we've done. Look at how far we've come. We just celebrated 29 years of marriage, and at the same time celebrated your 28th anniversary at the Moore Fire Department, where you climbed every rank and worn every helmet along the way. That alone is something to be proud of, but it's only the beginning. Together, we've raised 3 amazing kids. You've written books. We've even co-authored a book, and we've built several businesses from the ground up, all with purpose and passion. And now here we are celebrating your 300th episode of what's become one of the most respected and listened to live shows for firefighters. That's not just an accomplishment, it's a legacy in the making. But what means the most to me is that what you've poured into our family unconditionally, day after day, year after year, your dedication is unmatched. It's the thing that drew me in when we met at 16, and it's the thing I still see in you to this day. I see every day the quiet, consistent legacy you've steadily been building in our home, in our children, and now our grandson. And I know that legacy doesn't end there. It's radiating outward, touching lives far beyond our front door. So as we celebrate this 300th episode tonight of the Weekly Scrap Podcast, I want to ask a question. It's a 2-part question. When you look back at everything that you've built, from our family to your career to the impact you've made on the fire service, what do you believe are the values or choices that created the legacy you're leaving behind? And how can others start building that kind of legacy in their own lives, starting right where they are? Happy 300th episode, Corley.
That's not fair.
Corley, I was just going to say, you always say no soft tosses. That's not a soft toss.
No doubt. It's going to be a multi-part exam question after she punched me in the gut. So no, amazing. What was the question? The values of, did you guys catch the question? Do you guys have a wording of the question?
I got the question somewhere here.
What were the values?
Yeah, the values that got you to this point. What was the driving force of the values that got you to create this thing that you've created?
Whew. Man, good luck. You said no soft tosses. We came right out the gate with the hard curve. I will go with so I'll answer it. Hey, I'll answer it. Yeah. No qualifiers. 3 parts. In my family, it's love. 100% love. I love my kids so much that I think that you can get away with not knowing. There's no parenting manual. So you start off when you're a young person trying to raise kids, man. You make mistakes, but I love my kids, and I think that shows. And on my job and the career, I think you can do a lot of stuff wrong but if you love your guys, if you love them, you can get away with a lot. And I think that in my family and my career, those things are very, very that love is there. And I think that my guys would say that, and I think my kids would say that. And then I think it bleeds right into the scrap because I really love doing it every week. And I don't think it would be at 300 if I didn't, if that makes sense. So that's what I would go with is that it's the love that's there. It's just a real love. So I don't know if that's the cheesiest answer, but yeah, that's what I got for you.
Outstanding, brother.
Yeah, I should have wrote down the question. I was enjoying the video.
I was also.
All right.
No, again, it was yeah.
All right, so we got another video, and
Okay.
Chief Thompson already mentioned that it's going to be coming from Chief Leeb, and so I can't wait to see this video. I know,
No doubt.
I know this has got to be really good. So make sure you got a pen and paper, Corley, so you can write down the question.
Well, last time I had something in my eye, and then all I got written down was values. That's what I got.
All right. All right.
I'm a pro. I promise.
All right. So let's go. Roll the video,
footage.
Sam.
Brother Corley, congratulations on the 300th scrap. Not sure why I'm not on the show, but at least I'm able to ask you some questions. But all kidding aside, congratulations. 300 is an amazing milestone. Congratulations on your upcoming retirement from the fire department that's actually changed their name after you. I can't wait to celebrate with you. And I have a couple of questions for you. So here we go. First, I want to know what's the most 2 recent books that you've read?
2 recent books. I just finished Super Communicators, Charles Duhigg. Phenomenal book. I love the first 2/3 of it. The last third, it would have, if it finished as strong as it started, it would be one of my top 5 books. As it is, it's amazing. The front 2/3 is amazing. It's changed the way I talk to people. So Super Communicators. And then I just started this one, which someone suggested on the scrap, actually, which is High Conflict.
Oh,
High Conflict with
who's that by?
Amanda Ripley.
Amanda Ripley.
I don't remember. I would love to give credit for who said it on a scrap, but there's so many they blur. I'm not going to lie. And but it really piqued my interest, and so I've got it. I just started, so I can't say how good it is yet.
Okay. All right.
Beautiful.
The second question I have for you is, what is the 2 most important leadership traits that every leader must possess?
2 most important traits for a leader. Number 1 is the ability to learn, and that's straight out of the 9 L's, because I believe that if you have the ability to learn, then you can learn any other trait that you need to have. And if you don't have the ability, which is closely tied to humility, because you have to have the humility to realize you need to learn. So it's, and again, this is not fair because it's the 1,000,000-point scale, but the ability to learn, which almost every human being has. So that's the good news. And man, it's so, the authenticity or humility it's tough for me to balance between the 2, because, but I'll go final answer, humility and the ability to learn.
All right.
And thirdly, what is the key to your time management success? I look at myself and I think that I'm a pretty good time manager. And then I look at your schedule and what you're doing and the weekly scrap and all of that, the vigilantes, everything. And I wonder, like, how does he do it? Now, it's
Great
possible
question.
you've cloned yourself a couple of times, so that might be the answer. But I'm looking forward to hearing some Max Points answers. Again, congratulations, my brother. Keep doing what you're doing. The fire service needs more people like you.
Amen.
Frank, so awesome. Great. I honestly, this is the truth of it, is I never feel like I'm doing enough. And that's just this constant feeling like I'm not doing enough. And, but I think 2 things, everybody needs an Amanda. Amanda's amazing. She supports me. And so you can go, if you have a partner, I would say a woman but a partner that supports you and builds you up, you can conquer the world if they make you feel like a king. I mean, you can. And then you can conquer any problem in the world if you have enough ammunition. And that's the truth. So
Love it.
But a great support group. And then man, like, dude, you see this giant metal shield that the Vigilantes gave? When you have a support group like the Vigilantes, how can you not get stuff done? I mean, it's insane. So I would love Yeah, I wish I had some magical thing, but it's constantly feeling like I'm not doing enough and wanting to get the next, let's get around the corner and try to make this next crazy idea happen.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
ahead.
I was just gonna, Scott, I was just going to say, I told you this was going to be easy because we don't really have to do a whole heck of a lot. There's,
No.
you know, Corley's doing all the talking and this is awesome.
Yeah, hosting the scrapping makes it sound like it's such a big deal. But Corley, this is about you. So give us a little background. You know, tell us about the start when you decided you wanted to be a firefighter, and I want to hear a little bit about the front man for the band. You and Amanda met at a young age at 16, but give us a little background, brother, up to current date and time, if you don't mind.
I don't mind. I don't mind at all. I was never one of those people. I always thought firefighters were cool. I can remember sitting in the back seat of a station wagon. I want to say it was like a 78 Woody style station wagon that my parents drove. And I remember a fire truck like pulling up beside us at, in the turn lane to turn left. And we're sitting there to go straight. And I remember looking up and seeing a guy in a jump seat. And I remember thinking, that's cool. That's all. But I was never a guy that was like, I'm going to be a firefighter. I'm going to grow up. I'm going to be a firefighter. It was never really on my radar. And then I was working dead end jobs. Like when I say dead end, they were just minimum wage, no benefits, no career. They weren't career. They were just, you showed up, you clocked in, you clocked out. And that was what I was working. And I was married. I was 19 years old or 19, I think, married with the kid, and working minimum wage jobs. And my dad was actually pretty worried about me. I mean, obviously so, what's this guy doing with a wife and kid? And so he actually pushed me to try out for the Moore Fire Department, which is where we lived at the time. Where we lived most of our lives growing up was Moore, Southside OKC. And so he actually pushed me. He actually met the fire chief at the church that he was attending and teaching at the time. And so he got all the information from the fire chief on how to apply. And I always say everything happens for a reason. Like I believe that. And because I was never one of those guys, if I hadn't gotten hired on that first try, I was never one of those people that was going to go try again 30 times until I made it. And so I was supposed to be a firefighter. I believe that with all my heart and soul now. And that's the reason I got on when I did. Someone's looking out for me. And so if you want the truth of the matter, and I've told this story before, but I probably should have been terminated or let go during my probationary year just because I was immature. Really? I was young. I didn't take the job. I took the job serious, but I didn't understand. Like if I hired me now, I would be like, can we cut this guy loose and let him come back when he's matured and grown up a little bit, But when they hired me on my shift that I was assigned to, the battalion chief was off with a medical issue and he was gone for most of my rookie year. And then the second in command, his unofficial second in command, ripped his shoulder up on a fire and he was off on medical. So the top two people running the shift were gone. And so separate company officers were kind of keeping it moving forward. And I got to slip through the cracks because of that. And luckily I got to grow up in the fire service, become more mature, and eventually not be as young and irresponsible. So.
Well, I know Scott wants to get to the your rock singer years.
Yeah, I'm not letting him off the hook on that.
We don't want to let that go yet, but I would just want to say, because this kind of ties to the whole scrap and how this. So there was, you said you should have probably been terminated during your probation. I say
that facetiously, but I wasn't. I mean, there's a level of truth to it. I don't know if that's a little bit hyperbolic, but yeah, yes.
Well, let's get to the point, because I know, like you and I have talked about this. Is like it was there was a specific class that you started to realize about the complacency and started to realize your own complacency, and that there was a change, which then led to this. Can you just talk a little bit about like how this led to the scrap and Firehouse Vigilance?
There was a lot of dominoes that failed, but the two big ones I always point to, and one of them I just realized recently how much it had an impact on me because I went and caught the class again in January of this year. But the first one that I usually give credit to is Mark Von Oppen's Fully Involved. And I went to, Brian Brush brought him into Edmond and did the Edmond Leadership Conference. And he was the first person that I ever heard say, you can love this job, be good at this job, and be proud of it. and not be apologetic and say, oh, it's just a job, not shrug it away and oh, you're one of those guys, you know what I'm saying? And that was and that blew my mind. That literally blew my mind because that was pretty deep in my career. That was only like about 12 years ago. And so it wasn't like that was like 2014, 2013. And the other one was Dave McGrail, which was also, and this is why Brian Brush has to go on my Mount Rushmore, because of how he's the facilitator, man. He's the one who brings things together. But he brought Dave McGrail in, and he did his "Are You Into the Job" lecture. And I just got to catch that in January. He came to OKC and did it again. And I sat through it, and it blew my mind how much of an impact it had on Firehouse Vigilance and the weekly scrap. But it was kind of in retrospect, looking back, saying, holy smokes, I remember sitting through this, taking notes on this, and all of this had such an impact on why I'm doing what I'm doing. So,
and to tie to McGrail, I mean, I'm sure most of the listeners here know that you had Dave and his dad, Pat, on a scrap, and then Pat just recently passed. And
so our thoughts and prayers are going out to Dave 100%. And his family.
Absolutely. All right, let's get on to the rock star thing.
Come on, man. Let's tell us about the hairband thing. Come on.
On my phone, when you call, it's that picture of you with a microphone in your hand singing. So talk about it.
Well, what do you do if you have no pipes, no range, and can't play guitar? What do?
You yell.
You become the front man of a rock band. That's what you do. Yeah. And so that's what I did. Sam was our bassist, man. Sam was the bassist in the original lineup of
really.
The original band was No More Heroes. That was the name of our band, and we recorded an album. You can find the music out there. And I loved
No More Heroes.
No, don't look for that, because we had to change our name at the same time as right when we were coming out. There was a video game that came out called No More Heroes, and it buried our name on Google, so we had to change our name. We became Never My Hero.
Never My Hero.
Never My Hero. We kept the N, the M, and the H, the same letters, but we became Never My Hero.
Never My Hero. And I didn't even know that Sam was in the group. That's awesome.
He was the original bassist. He got some original recordings you can hear, and a lot of the original songs we wrote.
Okay, well, hey, I know Sam's listening. He's in the background. Sam, let's get some of those recordings in the Discord. This is another promotion for getting on with Patreon and being a vigilante. And let's put those out in Discord, Sam, so we can listen to some of this stuff. I know you can. All right. Hey, wait, is there any other questions that we're going to wing it on there, Chief?
Nope. Let's see these here. Let's see what the vigilantes have to say. They're the most important part of this whole thing.
I don't want to interrupt. Corley was going to say something. I don't want to.
It was about the band. I would say it was it is probably still one of the most fun hobbies I've ever had. Most fun hobbies I've ever had. I'm not saying we were good. So when you hear the music, I'm not saying we were good, but it was a blast. Okay.
All right. Awesome. Okay, Sam, let's bring up a couple of vigilante questions.
G'day, Corley. Congratulations on episode 300. This is a really great opportunity for myself and all the other vigilantes to finally find out more about the man behind the microphone who's been leading us through this journey so far. Thinking back through your time in the fire service, what's the most nervous you've ever been on a job? Whether it was on the job or going to the job, where have you felt the most nervous about what you're about to do? And then, obviously, after you've done whatever it was that you needed to do, what did you learn out the back end of that? How did you feel afterwards? And how did you grow, and how did you develop through that experience?
Oh, that's a solid question, man.
Wow, great question.
No wonder the guests love coming on the scrap, because the questions from the audience are amazing. Most nervous I've ever been on a call. We had a 306 that laid over on its side coming off the highway. It took an exit ramp too quick, laid over on its side. It was full.
It's an MC 306.
Yes. And full of gasoline, and the driver was pinned inside the cab. And so some of the top hatches eggshelled, and it was leaking. It was filling the ditch that it was in. And we had to get him out of that cab. And that's probably the most nervous I've ever been. And his foot was caught in the door. And me and the first in firefighter, I probably had 2 or 3 years on at the time, but I ended up.
So you were a firefighter at the time, Corley?
Yes,
you were a firefighter?
This was probably 1999, maybe 2000.
Okay.
And I had to crawl through it was laid on its side. I had to crawl through the windshield, and I couldn't get through because the way it was crushed. And so I had to end up taking off my bunker coat just to get inside. But I mean, and in my head, I'm thinking, I mean, if this thing goes, it's not going to make a difference anyway. I'm either getting in and out or not. But then it was for about 2 minutes to get him freed and get his boot freed. And my partner that was working the other side, of course, we couldn't use any lights. We couldn't use anything because of the nature of the spill. And that was probably, I won't say nervous. That's the most terrified I think I've ever been, just because of the situation. And I don't, yeah, man, I
What'd you learn from it?
That's what I was going to say. What's the lessons learned from it?
Don't go to hazmat calls.
Yeah, no doubt. Hazmat should be a hat you don't wear. I don't know. I know that, like, I hate talking about me, but one of the things I learned is that I can do it. If that makes sense. I knew that I would go. You know, you don't know until you get the chance to do it, you know, and that was one of those moments where I knew I could go. So if that makes sense, what I'm saying, if you've
Makes
never,
absolute sense.
yeah, if you don't,
Yeah.
if you haven't been tested, you know, and so anyway, that's where I learned I would.
And I want to quote, so everybody knows this is, that was Luke Stevenson who got the most profound question award from Firehouse Vigilance as one of the vigilantes, which is why we brought him in. And if you notice, he was upside down because he's from Australia.
Yeah.
So it's a little,
that's why I was
Love
cracking up as soon as
Love it.
and then I don't know which language he's speaking, but he says, "What did you learn out the back end?" I'm like, man, we don't use those terms here in America.
I hope I didn't learn anything out the back end.
Yeah, but on seriously here, what you learned was like, you know, we hear about it in the fire service. It's like, you know, call on me, right? I want to be the one to go, and that was
Pick
the
me.
moment that you realized that, yeah, pick me, send me, and you realize, like, you know, you were ready for it. Is that what you're saying then, Corey?
Yeah, no, you don't know if you're gonna, like, hey, do I have what it takes to do this? You know what I'm saying? If it's a situation that's high potential for, if things go wrong, there's a high potential I could die trying to make this happen. Will I still go? And I knew after that call that I would. And some people go their whole careers and never get tested in that manner, you know. And so that was what I learned. And yeah, I don't know if I've ever put that into words. So thank you for the
Awesome.
question, Luke.
Well, Luke, we
Outstanding,
appreciate
brother.
the question.
We got another one for you.
All right, send it, Sam.
Corley, congratulations on episode 300, brother. Me and the iPhone boys, which we call each other the V fam, we wouldn't be a group. We wouldn't know each other if it weren't for you and the weekly scrap. You started the Vigilantes 3 years ago, and for that we are grateful. I have some of the greatest friends that I've ever met in my life because of you. So the iPhone boys has a question for you. What is the habit or practice that you would say has been the most important to achieving the success that you have? We love you. Congratulations on your retirement. Godspeed.
Ooh, great question. Of course, it's a great question. It's the
Hanging around with Rob and me.
yeah. If you fly with eagle, or if you hang around with what is it, 4 eagles, you'll be the
Yeah.
fifth.
And blow it off.
No, 100%. There's a lot. Dude, that's a tough question because there's so much you could put it on. But if I melt it down to answering, it is, and it's what I preach. It's a mantra that I preach, but I think I can trace it back to trying to read for 60 minutes every day. That's the one thing I'm super consistent on, and I try to read for 60 minutes every day. And I think that I can tell when I fall off that wagon. I can see my productivity slip. I can see my cognitive creation, my creative process start to drag, and it's like going to the gym. For me, the reading, I think that is, if you're going to melt it down to a habit, and not relationships or the network that the scrap is built, you know, because there's so much you could point out for, but that's it. The habit is reading, trying to read for 60 minutes every day.
Awesome.
That's
Hey, Sam,
brother.
Sam, let's do one more Vigilante video.
What's up, Corley? congratulations on 300 and congratulations on your retirement. Question for you is, if recruit Corley Moore met Chief Corley Moore, what do you think he would say? What would he think? Peace out.
Which way was it? Recruit met Chief or Chief met recruit? If the Chief met the recruit, fire this kid. Tell this kid to come back when he's more mature.
He's too much of an influencer.
I honestly, man, I think that if you went and talked to there's not many left in my department that were around when I was a rookie or when I was, the first 10 years of my career. But if you went and asked them, they would all agree that if Chief Corley Moore met recruit Corley Moore, he'd be like, the fact that I'm wearing a white helmet now would astound a lot of people that were in my department. There's been so much growth as a human being, as a person, as a firefighter that I'm not. Yeah, I don't know if that's making sense how I'm answering it. It's just it's unrecognizable, the person that I've become. It's just been that much growth, and because there was that much headroom to grow. I had a lot of improvements to make.
I apologize. I'm going to jump in. Do the reverse. What if recruit Corley met you today?
He'd be, holy crap, this guy's awesome.
Recruit Corley meets Chief Corley. All right, I'm curious.
I was trying to be funny.
I know you're trying to be funny, but nobody's laughing right now, Corley.
Okay,
so let's
just. I'm trying to think of how I used to think when I was 20 years old, 19, 20 years old. Because at the time, I knew everything. I was the smartest person in every room, according to me. And no one could teach me stuff. You know what I'm saying? I was arrogant. I was ignorant and immature.
But here, let's just dig a little bit deeper into this, because let's say, because this is a younger person who's probably into the socials, and has all of the, Insta and everything. If I were to come on the job as a young firefighter and I were to meet a senior member who's a chief officer and they're doing all the shit you're doing right now, I would be blown away. I would absolutely be blown away. So maybe look at it from what you're doing, what you've been doing. And I'm not, maybe it's difficult to talk about it, but I mean, a lot that you've done.
No, there's something to dig into here, because we talk about imposter syndrome, me and other, and we talked about it many times on the scrap. But there is a level of that for me of I don't look at myself. I look at myself as the guy who hangs around awesome people. So I know Chief Thompson was making a joke about knowing Rob Fisher and Scott Thompson, but in my head, it blows my mind that a guy from suburbia 4-station department, Moore, Oklahoma, gets to hang around with the people. My network is Frank Leeb came on and asked me questions. You know what I'm saying? What business is there that happening? So there is this level of it's like, and this is exaggeration, but there's this level of everybody's going to start laughing, and then they pull the rug out and say, we're just kidding. None of this is real, right? You've been living in a fantasy land. And there is a level of that, if that makes sense. So to me, I don't see it in that same manner. If that makes
No, I totally get what you're saying, because to stay on this topic just a little bit longer, I would say, and I know a lot of the vigilantes and you and I, we get to travel, and Chief Thompson gets to travel a lot and talk at conferences, and we don't see a lot of the big departments at these conferences, like, the big five. We see some, but very rarely do we see them. We see no-name departments. And this is one thing that, going back to the imposter syndrome, this is the thing that I've struggled with. And Cody Trestrell, and being part of the Brothers in Battle, he hammered us all the time, and that you don't have to be from the big department, and that there's value in people, in firefighters that are really into the job and that have made this. And that's what I will say about you. And goes back to the beginning of this whole scrap, is you weren't into the job before the scrap. You were just doing the job. And then something punches you in the face, and it was like, whoa. And now that's what created this,
yes.
That's what brought this whole thing on. And so I think it's important that everybody that's out there listening to this and watching is that you might be from Moore, Oklahoma, or Snohomish County Fire, or the Colony. You don't have to be from a big department and have an impact on the fire service. And Corley, I got to tell you, I mean, this is just like the maybe I'm fangirling a little bit or fanboying a little bit on this, but this is what you've done so well. You've done so well, and have made others feel like, hey, I'm in a small department and I can have an impact as well. So
I can have a voice. You've given a voice to the small departments, to the people that are passionate, Corley. You've given them a voice. Rob, did you have another question?
I do. I just want to know, I mean, this is kind of a question for both you, Chief, and Corley. One, so Corley, I want you to talk on, and I don't know, maybe I should ask Scott the question first. Scott, how did you get Corley to come on the show? It's been 10 pounds of pressure 100% of the time, and I haven't been able to get him to budge on it. And then Corley, when the Chief gets done, I want to hear from you why you made the choice, or I'm sorry, why did you resist forever to be on the show? Okay, Chief, you want to kind of hit on that?
I just thought about this. I watched an episode, and I admire Corley and the stuff that Corley does. I'm in awe. As Frank Leeb said, the time, and he's done so much for me. And I just called him one night and I said, I think I started out, said, Corley, hear me out before you say anything. And we've been going back and forth. And I said, hey, I've written a foreword to your book. I contributed to the fire rescue or to the search book. Dude, you owe me a favor. No, it wasn't like that. But I said, just Corley, man, you've done so much for the fire service, and it's your turn. And I think the vigilantes in the fire service world want to hear your story. And he didn't say yes right away. He goes, nah, I'm not comfortable. Let me get back to you. And I don't know, what was it, 10 days or so, Corley? And you finally called and said, okay, I'll do it. But, he didn't want to do it right away. I could tell he was uncomfortable. And I kind of asked him to do it for me. And he finally said yes. But, man, I'm so happy you agreed, brother.
Me too.
All right, Corley.
Me too. I really am. And the thing that you bumped up against, and everybody bumped up against, is there's certain tenets that the scrap is based on, and they're principles that I try not to violate. I have violated them a few times, and most times I do it, I regret it, and so I try to stick to them. But the two that have really stood the test of time is nobody comes on the scrap who asked to come on the scrap. Now, when I say these aren't absolutes. If Vincent Dunn calls me and says, hey, I want to be on your show, I'm going to say, yes, sir. You know what I mean? So there are people who could call up and say it. But generally speaking, if someone says, hey, I want to be on your show, that's just it's not going to happen in all likelihood. Now, I constantly get people who will email me and say, man, you should meet my battalion chief. He's amazing. He does all this stuff with the fools in our area. He puts on training. He does this. He's the most humble person ever. And, I'll research them, and then they come on the show. And that's where a lot of the network comes from. A lot of people that I would never meet otherwise come from those suggestions from their peers and from their mentors. So I don't know if I'm answering the question, but one of the biggest rule of the scrap is never about me. And it's always about the guest. And that's a very big key when I'm making the notes and when I'm researching their topics and their articles and things like that. And it's not like that was a thing that I said from the get-go when I first started doing the show. It's as I worked on it, I realized that it's a key. I don't know my English language is failing me right now. It's the key for the episodes being engaging and staying fresh is the guest. The guest is the spotlight. And so to make one about me just flies in the face of that principle. And so I really am resistant, as Chief Thompson can tell you. And as you know, Rob, I'm very resistant to that idea. And so when I actually got off the phone with him, I was like, yeah, there's no way that's happening. And then I talked to Amanda. I talked, over the next few weeks and those 10 days or so. And yeah, eventually it became what you're looking at now. So thank you for that, because this has been a lot of fun already.
So tell us a little bit about the journey, Corley, your vision initially for the scrap when you were starting out, no guests, and then kind of transitioning into getting guests and then adding the vigilantes. Kind of tell us about that journey, if you will.
Well, originally it was just me talking to a phone, and they lasted. If you've seen the original ones, they're like 10 or 15 minutes long, and it was me, basically that 60 minutes of reading I do every day. I was just taking the stuff that I was reading and regurgitating it, my thoughts on it, you know what I'm saying, and the stuff I was reading. I'd read like the Functional Fire Company. I'd read chapter 2 and I want to talk about developing the chosen culture, and so I'd go live and I'd talk about it. What I quickly realized is that I don't care who you are, nobody. Maybe there's an exception to this, but very few people have that much to say, and so if you're just going live and talking for any length of time, eventually you're going to run out of stuff to say that's original or new. And so the guests were the key. Whenever the first guest came on, Court Smith out of OKC Fire Training, president of the Fools at times, I went to the Fools meeting and he said, "Hey, I want to be on your show," which I didn't even know he was watching the show at the time. I didn't even know he knew about it. And so I did that first interview. I think it's about 17 minutes long. It's not, he's awesome. He's good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not shortchanging him. But he absolutely, I realized this is way better than me talking to somebody else and pulling out what they're passionate about is way better. And that was the germ of it.
What has surprised you the most? What when you started this out, where you are now, where'd you go, wow, I had no idea?
The fact that how amazing the good people in the fire service are. And when I say that, you think of, I'm sitting here talking to Chief Scott Thompson and Rob F. Fisher. You know what I mean? And so, but what I mean by that is when you go to FDIC and you see the people walking down the hallway, you're like, holy crap, that's the dude. You know what I'm saying? And so when I can remember the first time I reached out to have Rick Lasky come on the show, and I was messaging him on Facebook. So I was typing it on Messenger and I typed it out. I had this whole long paragraph of, "Hey, I'm doing this show about firefighting, blah, blah, blah. Would you be interested in coming?" And I remember I let it sit up there for I don't know how long, minutes. And then I finally looked away and hit enter and then just walked away from my computer because I was so nervous to try and ask him to come on. And I didn't know how my ego would handle when he sent back the invariable, "I'm too busy for you, son," but in a polite way. And, but what's blown my mind is the giants in this sphere, how humble, down to earth, and amazing they are, and how willing they are to sit down and have a good conversation. And it's just, that was the biggest revelation, is that they are awesome human beings and they love to, and they're willing to share their passion.
That's awesome, brother. We have a question from Joe Gavito.
All right.
And I know you're going to love this one, but Corley, what has being a grandfather taught you? And we have talked about this, man. There's nothing like it, but share some of that with us.
I think it's a paradigm shift. Honestly, it's been a life altering paradigm shift. And Amanda says it all the time. She goes, "I've never seen anything that calms Corley down like this." And I can have the busiest, most hectic schedule for the day, so much stuff, to-do list, you know what I'm saying? And I can sit in that kid can show up and sit in my arms in that recliner, and that to-do list can go to hell. And
isn't it beautiful?
Oh, I'm telling you, man, it is the biggest paradigm shift. I don't get me wrong, I love my kids. I have a great relationship with my kids. People would tell me it'll change your life, and I was like, yeah, whatever. I had kids. I'm tight with my kids. You don't understand it until it hits, man.
And Rob has a grandchild. It's a different kind of love.
I love it. I mean, it's one of the best things, because it's and Corley, and you and I have talked about this. That I think you said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but something about you have this draw for creativity and always being busy. You have to keep yourself busy, but you don't have to do that when you have little Frankie in your arms and you're sitting in the chair, and it's like the world can just go and pass by without any, without any worry of doing anything. And I can tell you, for with my granddaughters, being in the pool is, and watching them swim is I don't care what's going on outside of that. So yeah, and Scott has, Chief has grandkids too. So this is the grandfather's club right now.
Make it grandfather scap. Make it grandfather scrap.
All right, Sam, do you have another video for us? Another question? Sam?
Oh, here it comes.
Hey, Chief.
He's coming.
Chris Dragon Scott here. Congratulations on the 300th episode. That is a huge accomplishment. You've affected thousands of firemen's lives and their careers through your platform and through this podcast, and we're grateful for that. So now I've got a question for you. Would you rather be first in as the officer coaching your son on the nozzle, or be the chief that awards him the commendation at the medal ceremony after he makes the grad? So,
Great
what's it
question.
going to be?
Oh, that is
Your
phenomenal.
retirement. Love you, brother.
Oh, Dragon, love you too, man. That is a phenomenal question. Oh, dude, that is. I thought it would be easy when he first said it. Now I'm like, I don't know if there'd be anything better than pushing a hallway with my son. I don't know if there's anything better than that. I would have to go with in gear, nasty black smoke pumping and making a push down a hallway, flowing and moving down a hallway with my son would be. I don't think there's anything better than that. With but damn, pinning a medal on him would also. I got to pin his badge on at his rookie graduation, and so I will say I will take final answer on the would you rather from the Dragon. I will take pushing the hallway with my son. Family jobs. There we go.
Awesome.
Mark alone said it. Family jobs.
Yeah. Well, it's it's like bleeding and sweating.
Yeah.
And we talk about that as firefighters, and that builds the connection. And when you've got, I think it would be awesome. My kid's not on the job, and he has other interests, but I think it would be an awesome experience to kill some fire together, cut a roof together. I think it would be awesome. So I'm with you on that one.
That was good.
Corley, we got a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No.
No, I don't want to cut you off, brother.
I was elaborating on pinning a medal on him would be unreal experience, but I was just elaborating. So yeah, go ahead.
We got a question from Gregory Van Ham. When you started teaching and writing books, were you nervous to start teaching others? What have you learned?
Oh yeah, nerves. And some people have heard this before, some people haven't. I wear a black polo every time I teach, and it's not a style choice. It is because I sweat so badly when I get up in front of people that I have to wear the black to hide the sweat. After doing it for like a couple of years, I went to OKC fire training, which I've taught at probably a dozen times. And I told the man, I said, I'm going to wear a gray polo this time. And boom, like just massive. When I first started teaching, I could look at my watch and my heart rate would be like 160, 166 because I was so nervous. And people talk about counting the steps and how much I walk. It is nerves I'm not a comfortable speaker. I'm not comfortable getting up in front of people. So I had to do it in spite of that. And one of the really cool things I'll share real quick, which was a podcast, and I wish I could give credit, but I won't be able to. But the lady on it was talking about those nerves when you get up to public speak. Don't look at it as anxiety. Look at it as rocket fuel. And it's fuel.
Wow.
And so I really like that mindset, and it's helped a lot. So as a lesson of what I've learned is, repetition has brought the heart rate down. So now it's only like 120, 125 when I start. So it's a little better. The nerves are still there, but public speaking, a lot of people say public speaking is like the greatest fear. And don't get me wrong, I'm not comfortable with it, but it's just, it reinforces what I teach, which is repetition fixes everything. Just repetition. And obviously it's not practice makes perfect. Practice makes permanent. But if you tie it back to the ability to learn, if you're willing to learn and grow and put in the reps, you'll get better. You will get better. So I believe that.
Corley, I'm watching the chat in the YouTube, and Robbie says, "Are you sure it's nerves, or is it just because you're running back and forth so quickly?"
You put a lot of steps in, brother.
I do. I'm working on it. I promise you, I'm working on it.
Hey, we got
Sam,
a question.
Do we have another question?
Well, yeah, we do. I'm gonna cover it right now, there, Chief. From the other Australian, Kaiser, and he wants to know. So after Australia, obviously, if you could travel anywhere internationally, where's your number 2 spot? I guess he wants you to come to Australia to learn more about the wider fire service. So I guess It's a big joke. It's a big joke, the wider fire service. Or is it another Australian term?
It might be Australian term. All I know is Australia, I've seen the flora and the fauna that exists in Australia, and I'm pretty sure I think they brag about everything there wants to kill you. So I'm not sure it is number one. As far as strictly for firefighting, I think I would love to go with like Lars Axelsson in Sweden and everything they got going on there, because they are very analytical in their approach to firefighting. So that would be very high up there. I went to Germany, and Stefan, when I was in Germany, Stefan came to America. So I was like 30 minutes from Stuttgart, and I didn't. So I would like to also go see everything he's got going on over there. And he's told me many times, come on, bring it, And but no, I think I don't know a ton about international, like what they've got going on. And so, but absolutely the Swedish fire nerd and Sweden in general has just been known for really getting analytical and breaking it down. And so as far as broadening my less Americanized cowboy firefighting and getting more scientific, that would probably be my answer.
Awesome.
Was that a shot, Corley? Did you just take a shot at me?
No, I'm proud to be an American cowboy firefighter, whooping and a riding.
Sam, do you have another question from the Vigilantes?
Hey, I want to say congratulations, Corey, on the big 300. This is a big accomplishment. But I got a question for you. What part of your career brings you the most peace, or career-related accomplishment are you the most proud of? Once again, Corey, appreciate everything you do for the fire service. Keep it up, brother.
Career-related accomplishment that I'm most proud of,
or most peace?
I think it'd be, man, that's great questions, man. There's so many directions you could go with it. I think I would say, and I've been thinking about this a lot as I'm close to hanging up the bunker gear, is I think I would say it's basically the tied together is that as I leave, I think my crews, all my firefighters that I was responsible for would say that I loved them and I cared for them. I really do. And that brings me a lot of peace, and I am very proud of that. I don't want to jinx it by saying anything else, because I still got a few shifts left. I made till the 30th. And so, but it's been a good solid run of, yeah.
Well, Corley, this is the scrap. So mutts don't scrap. So there's no easy questions on here.
Right on.
Sam, we got another question from the Vigilantes.
Hey, Corley, congrats on episode number 300. It's been a really fun ride to be a part of, and I look forward to what the scrap is going to do in the future of the fire service. The question that the Vigilantes wanted to ask you was, what was one thing that you've always wanted to do but never had time for, and how will retirement allow you to pursue it? Thanks again, brother. Congratulations.
One thing that I have not had time to do, it's actually what I'm throwing a lot of energy into right now, and it's the next project. And yeah, I've been working on it. I remember talking on the 17th floor of the Hilton 4 years ago to Ray McCormick. I bounced the idea off of his noggin, and he's like, "Yeah, it's a good idea. Well, you should go with it." That kind of thing. And but it's I'm gonna be working on a video project. It's a very elaborate video project that I have not been able. I talked to Rob about it in Pensacola while we were just a couple weeks ago, bouncing ideas off of him for it. And it's going to take a significant time investment, and I have not had that bandwidth. And now Amanda has been, of course, telling me, because she's had to hear about it for the last 4 years, and now she's told me, no, it's time. And so it's in the works. It's the next project, and it's going to be, I'm super excited about it, very passionate about it. It's a video project, and that's really all the details that I without spending the rest of the scrap explaining all of it. That's basically the nutshell. There's a very cool project coming.
So I got a question for you.
Hit me.
You got a son that's on OKC. I got 2 sons on the job. And, there's all this talk about generational differences. What advice did you give your son prior to him stepping in the firehouse in OKC?
I would love to say there was something profound, but it really is just the rock solid, just put your head down and work, and they will notice. And that's let your actions speak. I wish it was something more profound, but it really is the same stuff that I tell new rookies coming in, which is assholes and elbows, man, and let your work speak for itself, and don't get caught standing around and prove that you want to be there, And again, that's what I would tell them.
That's a great answer. I always say I never taught my son how to force a door or stretch a line. I told him how to behave in the firehouse.
That's it. No, that's
And
great.
that's it.
That's great. That's a better answer, by the way. Max points for Chief Thompson.
No, we got one more. We got one more question from the Vigilantes, Sam. Oh, I thought you said we had one more. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, we got some more wing it questions. This is our section that, Corley, we call wing it.
Wing it.
Bring it.
Okay. Bring it with the wing it.
Yeah, I gotta move my screen around. So you and we've talked about creativity. We spend a lot of time talking about creativity, and I think it'd be really good that the audience hears kind of like what are the challenges for you, and talk a little bit about your creativity, why you do the things that you do, how does it impact your life, and maybe where it comes from.
Are you saying my need to create? Is that what you're talking about? My impulse,
Yep.
I got it from my dad, I'm pretty sure. So I can blame him, my father. And he has a need to build. Like if you know my father, and my family can attest to this, he has to build something. And I could go into a long history lesson of all the things he has built in his life, but suffice it to say, I have to have a project that I am working on. It's not an option, right? It's like there's a hole in me that has to be filled by me creating. And so if I'm not, then I feel like there's something wrong with the universe. And then the rest of it is, I'm sure, undiagnosed ADHD. My mind is chaotic and it's a storm up here. And then hence all my systems I create to try and make it productive, if that makes sense. But mainly I have to have a creative outlet. And so if I'm not working on the book of search or the next scrap or the video project that's coming up, then I start to feel like the universe is out of alignment and something's wrong. And that's exaggerative, but it's true. It's how my mind works.
So Corley, what do you tell the person that's afraid to step out there and do some of the things, write an article or do a podcast, and they're afraid of getting, the stuff that we get when we do those kind of things? What's your advice?
Dude, that's a great question. I don't know if I've ever put it into words. I would, do it. I mean, Nike has a great slogan, and I don't want to leave it at that, because I can't think of anything worse than standing at the plate and watching the ball pass by. When you got to swing, you have to swing. And because if you don't, then you have to live with not swinging. And that's way worse than not writing the article. You have to live with it. And this ties into the job even. When you talk about moral injury, it's not the call. I mean, don't get me wrong, the calls can be bad. The calls can take their toll. But most of the time it's the fact that I wasn't as prepared as I should have been. I didn't do what I should have done that tears people up. It's if I would have taken care of what I should have taken care of better, then I could have changed the outcome there. Whether that's true or not, that's what your mind is wrestling with that moral injury. And so it ties back into, if you have a desire, need, compulsion, a passion, and you don't do it, you are robbing yourself of you are injuring your I can't get the right word. You're injuring your soul. You're injuring your purpose,
principles, your beliefs, your passions.
And then and what happens is, because you're injuring your purpose, you have to mask it in some way, shape, or form. And over time, that will build on itself, and that will actually become stronger. So you have to swing. You have to do it, or you risk drifting massively towards failure, to borrow someone else's term.
Hey, Corley, I got a question from the audience. I'm watching the chat, and
you guys are so good at this. I love this.
Well, this is why it takes two of us to do what you do. Yeah. So Ryan Selleck has a question, and he's scrap number 249, if I remember correctly.
Nice.
Corley, do you think leadership in the fire service is improving or getting worse?
Man, if that's such a broad brush. So, I think it's improving overall in the macro, but on the micro, it doesn't matter because it can be so toxic, and so it can feel, depending on your situation, it can feel so hopeless. And so, man, that's tough.
Well, I mean, I would say there's a lot of organizations, a lot of groups, not just Young Officers on Fire, yourself, Chief Thompson. I mean, the list goes on and on. Leeb, Viscuso, a lot of these guys have been on the show, but I think, I mean, I would agree with you. I think we're trying to get it better. We recognize some of the problems. We discuss the problems. They're out there. It's just, and maybe Ryan's question's more like, are we seeing the change yet? And maybe we're not. Maybe it's just one of those things that it's just going to take a while. It's like turning the Nimitz or the Enterprise. It doesn't turn on a dime. It's going to take a while to get things to change. And once we get it changed, guess what? Something's going to change again, and it's going to need to change course. So it isn't really a fair question, but I just was curious.
It's a great question for great discussion, because the one thing I really do believe is it's not as complex as we sometimes try to make it, although it is on the micro. But on the macro, I think you can really melt it down to just care about people. Just care about your people if you're in a position of authority. And that's the part we get wrong so often. You can do all the step-by-step checkbox leadership stuff, but all of that is predicated on you caring about your people. And that takes care of so much. And then the rest of it matters. But if you don't take care of your people, if they're not a value, if your value system doesn't place people above paper, to borrow Ray McCormick's term, or people over systems, then none of the rest of it really matters. And so that's where it can get so frustrating in the macro, and highly toxic in the micro, at the macular level. So anyway, I don't know. That's great question.
I got a question that I skipped this question to get to Ryan's because I was looking at a different screen. But Nick Christie, he wants to know, and this is to both of you, Chief and Corley. Did you discuss the negative side of the fire department before with your sons? And what I'm saying, and how did it go?
Chief,
go ahead, Corley.
I did not. And I'm not sure it was necessary. One, he never. Now I have, but not before. One thing was, my son was never going to be a firefighter. Like, I didn't push him to be one. He really didn't. It wasn't like he's, from the age of 6 years old, he's like, I'm going to be like you, Dad. I'm going to be a firefighter. Now, one thing I did say to Amanda, and I said it probably when he was like 4 years old, I said, he's screwed. He's going to be a firefighter. And I don't know how much that affected him, but he grew up with me as a firefighter. I always said it jokingly, he's going to get a job when he's 16, and he's going to be like, what do you mean I have to show up tomorrow? When do we lift weights? I don't understand. What are you talking about? The real world jobs. And, but it was actually quite a surprise when he was like 18 years old, and he said, you know what? I'm going to go get my EMT. I'm going to be a firefighter. And it was kind of a surprise to us. But I don't think I ever sat down and said, now listen, here's the negative side. And, so no, I never had that discussion. Now, I think because he grew up with me, and then my little brother, his uncle, that's been a huge influence on his life, is also at Midwest City with Brian Brush. I think it wasn't, I don't want to say it wasn't necessary, but it wasn't a high priority to sit down and have that discussion. I think it's kind of just there.
Chief Thompson?
I did. Like Corley, I never pushed my boys to be firefighters, but when I was working for Rick Lasky, their mom was also a firefighter. She was a driver in Coppell, Texas. And I was working days, she was working shifts. So when you work for Rick Lasky and you're division chief, you take calls like everybody else. So it was my turn to take calls. My boys went with me. And so they got to see it firsthand, but they were so passionate that I felt the need to tell them about the ugly side of the fire service. And my youngest, Braden, when he went to Dallas, I won't mention the number, but he worked in one of the worst firehouses I've ever seen for a period of time. I mean, it was absolutely. And so, I kind of wanted to expose them to that so they could work through the negativity and find the positive of it. And so, yeah, I did have that discussion. You know, just because you're a great firefighter doesn't mean you're a great person. And those conflicts occur in the firehouse that we're all familiar with. So yeah, I did have that discussion with him and let him know that, you know, this isn't all great. There's some bad people that are doing this job, unfortunately, and they try to wreck our profession. They're few and far between, but they're out there.
No, it's
Excellent.
great. It's great.
Excellent. Hey, and before I get to another question, Chief, somebody just asked, I'm not going to name
Yeah, I
them out.
saw that.
What did you just pour? They want to know what you poured.
So my go-to is chicken cock bourbon, and that's the name of it, and that's what I like, and it's for every podcast and every scrap. But yeah, I just poured a little more chicken cock bourbon in my coffee cup here. I kind of did that on the side, but I guess I wasn't very successful in hiding that.
Chicken cock, is that a local bourbon or is that?
No, it's
Okay.
all over. I was in oh gosh, I was in New Jersey doing a class, and I went to a local bar and I said, "What's your good bourbon?" And I found it. It's easy to find, but anyway,
Okay.
that's what it was. I'm a bourbon guy.
I don't know. Can we say chicken cock on the?
You can say anything
the
you want.
air?
It's a scrap.
That's
You
the
can say
name of
whatever
it.
you want.
That's the name of it. It's the green label.
Okay.
You can say whatever you want. It's
all
a
right.
scrap.
So
We have one more video.
But hang on a second. This was Pinot Noir. I was drinking Pinot Noir and I'm empty. So, wife, I don't know where you're at. If you're running to the bar, you can get me some more Pinot Noir.
Rob F. and Fisher needs some Pinot.
Wait a minute. One more video. Hold on the video, Sam. Hold on the video. We got another question before we get to the videos. Chris Wessels, Corley, is there a particular scrap episode that had a surprise impact on you personally?
Ooh. Man, I would say probably the same one. I mean, the thing is I get to enjoy them just like the audience. That's one of the best parts about it for me. And the other thing, and I say this all the time when I answer, when people ask me favorites or impacts or things like that about episodes, is I have a recency bias. So the ones that are closer to me, the ones I just went through, I feel like they're better. But I will always go to 75. 75 is one of the most impactful scraps that's happened. It's backed up by the numbers too. It's the most watched scrap. If you count YouTube downloads, Facebook, and all of it, by far and away. And it's the whiteboard episodes with Kyle Romagus when he first developed the Cruel Intentions class. And
I've never heard of Kyle Romagus.
He's a good dude from Texas.
Texas.
You know, yeah, the big state down below us. We call it Southern Oklahoma.
Of course.
But no, I would say if I gun to my head, and that's such a tough question to answer, because there's so, and the other part of it is you forget about so many good episodes, and then you remember something, you know. So like, and someone brings it up, you're like, oh man, I forgot about that one. Was amazing. Like one of the Candace Ashby's her scrap. I've gotten so much feedback on her scrap. So many people have reached out and said, thank you. And again, you don't, Basil. I mean, if I start saying names, it's just, there's so many. I mean,
you know, Bob Pressler's really stood out to me. I don't know why that one was a hit, but listen to Bobby Pressler. His was one that I was really interested in.
Lombardo's, Bill
Lombardo's
Gustin
was a good one.
Gustin's got, if you want to talk about being surprised on a scrap, when Gustin just hung up and said, okay, thanks, Corley. It's been a good talk. Click. And he just hung up. I couldn't even get to the 5 questions. He just hung up. And so I was just like standing there like, okay, I guess we're done. So
that's
great
some,
question.
That's some good.
I just don't, yeah.
You know, Chief, you notice that neither of our scraps was impactful or.
No,
I just want to point that out.
I'm the white noise. When he needs filler, he throws me on there. I'm like a commercial in between episodes. You know, here's Thompson again doing his thing. So, you know, we're filler, Rob. We're filler.
And I want to get, while we're on this, I want to cover this. Chief Thompson, this is his eighth scrap. He did 27, 64, 118 Mega Alpha, 178, 244. He hosted 261. He also had a Mega Echo, which didn't have.
And you hosted 260. Well, Corley was out of town.
And Corley, you know what? Scott gave you a compliment. I'm like, wait a minute, he missed 2
You're right.
episodes.
You're right.
Of the 300. Yeah.
You're right.
260 and 261.
Yes.
So
yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. White noise.
So you're Mr. 298.
I'm 298.
All right.
Hey, and thank you guys for keeping the scrap weekly, because without you, I would have missed a week.
Well, thank you for trusting the scrap with us, brother. That was truly, if you were to ask me one of the high points of my career, I talk about my first time at FDIC and some of the places I work, but it would certainly be in the top 10.
Oh, that's
that
awesome.
You trusted me and Rob to do that when you were out of town. The numbers were the lowest that the scrap has ever seen, but we had fun.
I doubt that.
Blast.
No, I thank you guys. So seriously, thank you. That's a huge honor. Thank you.
All right, we got done with our last Wing It section, so we have one more video for you. Hold on, Sam, let's roll that video.
Hey, Dad, congratulations on 300 episodes of the Weekly Scrap. As your merch guy, your editing guy, your designs guy, your background guy, your setup guy, it's been great working with you and being behind the scenes on every single scrap. You couldn't have done it without me. I have 2 questions for you because I'm your son, so I get 2. The first one is, after your career as a firefighter, what is the number one thing you would change as a young guy getting on the job? And the second question is, name one book over 100 years old. Thank you.
Wow.
Awesome. That's awesome, brother.
Number one. Sorry, that one caught me by surprise.
Your eyes sweating a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. Number one thing that I would change about the job if I was getting on as a young guy.
Number one change, yeah.
Number one thing I would change is I would absolutely if we're talking magic wand question, I would erase complacency from the fire service. I mean, if I could erase complacency, it fixes I 100% I would erase complacency in the fire service. If it's a magic wand question.
Hang on. Do you know how sterile the fire service would be if we erased complacency?
Expound.
Well, I mean, we wouldn't have the scrap. We wouldn't get together the way we do. We wouldn't have conferences.
Be a need for the scrap.
Exactly. It would be boring. It would be
even better.
Boring.
Okay.
All right. I'll let you have your answer. I'm just like, you got to be kidding me, man. Then we wouldn't know each other. I wouldn't know Chief Thompson. There would be think of all of the listeners here.
Absolutely.
If we didn't have complacency, we wouldn't have a frickin' scrap, and we wouldn't have the audience.
Need it.
So you can stick with your answer. I don't know that I'm going to give you max points, but you can stick with your answer.
Okay.
All right. So 100-year-old book.
This is an ongoing debate between me and my son. He reads more than I do. And so,
wow.
And he reads old books. And, I forget who put up the quote. The biggest problem with new books is you don't have time to read the old books. And so I read all new books. And when I say new, something written in the last 30 years, he reads all old books, and it could be written in the 1600s, 1700s, and he's reading it. I would say, as far as a book over 100, there's not a lot that I've read that's over 100 years old. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations would probably be the big one that I would go with to name a book so I can meet the challenge. But it is an ongoing debate between me and him constantly about new books versus old books.
That's awesome.
So,
hey, Rob, as we close this out, do you have the 5 questions for Corley?
Well, we still got to ask him what book or books that he would recommend. I
thought he addressed that earlier. My bad. So tell us about your books.
Which books?
What you recommend, not what you're currently reading. What do you recommend?
Like, I should be prepared for this question.
What?
I should
How
be
do you not
prepared
know
for
this question?
No.
You've never...
I would go. I read a lot of books, and so it's hard. And I have a recency bias, and I also have a scatterbrain. This mind is a storm. The long story short, I would go with 7 Habits Highly Effective People. That is the book that changed my life. And
love it.
Stephen Covey's 7 Habits. Begin with the end in mind. If not this, then what? Which is, I won't sit here and say Functional Fire Company. Although, if you want to develop the chosen culture, if you want to keep your people from drifting towards failure, then Functional Fire Company, absolutely.
You're too kind, brother.
But I would also say leadership and self-deception had a huge impact on me and the young man that just came on and asked that last question. That book really changed my relationship with my son, and it's a powerful book. And so, Leaders Eat Last. I always say it's the most misquoted book title of all time when people talk about Simon Sinek. But the book, if you like leadership, Leaders Eat Last, Simon Sinek, phenomenal. And Clark, my man. What's up, my brother?
He said, "What's up, my brother?"
Oh, he can't hear me.
What's up, Corley Moore?
Let's give you some
How are you guys?
Doing well.
He said, "Doing well."
Doing well. Good, brother.
All right.
Congratulations. Congratulations,
man.
brother.
Thank
You're doing good work. You're doing good work. Humble too. So humble.
He said, "Thank you." All right. So I'm waiting to see if Sam's got any questions left in the audience before we start getting.
Corley, as you wrap this up, you've got all the vigilantes and everybody listening. Give us a few words of wisdom, kind of going forward. Motivate us with your work and tell us, get us in the mind of Corley Moore going forward.
Random words of wisdom.
Don't let Thompson and Fisher host a scrap.
No, I think you guys have been amazing. I'm glad you guys talked me into this. It's been a lot of fun. I wish I should have known, but you guys did an amazing job with this. Never stop the fight against. I mean, I believe the creed with all my heart and soul. We do this for others. Push, train, learn, and that's a mantra. It's not just. It's a mantra. Master yourself, master ourselves, and the nevery easy, never quit. And that's it, man. I don't think there is better wisdom. It encapsulates it. It encapsulates it.
Love it. Love it.
And McGinn says we got to give you a break. It's your first time on the show.
It is true. It is true.
All right, Corley Moore, are you ready for the 5 questions for firefighters?
I'm actually very excited about this. Like,
and
I'm very excited.
And I think this is version 5.72.
And
this is the most stressful part of the scrap.
And you guys know this. I always give the guest a heads up on the question so they can think about it.
I don't ever recall you giving me a heads up.
Yeah. Do you know the questions?
No, I don't know the questions.
All right. Well, guess what? They're the questions that you use all the time. So I think everybody's excited.
Yeah.
So question number 1. You are a probie once more, and you have to cook a meal at the firehouse. What's your go-to meal?
Oh yeah. I have a easy, can't miss chicken Alfredo, and it's pasta. It's comfortable. It's easy, and I can't miss with it, and it always hits. Not the healthiest, but I can make it and not screw it up, and so it's a good, safe option. Along with some garlic bread, boom, done. French loaf, garlic butter, boom, done. Easy.
Max points for the ease and comfort. Got to give them max points for the ease and comfort. Comfort food.
1 for 1, max points out the gate.
Okay. Question number 2. It's job time. This is my favorite question. And we created this question when we were in Pensacola.
Yes.
You remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's job town. Sam usually pushes up the video from Backdraft when the driver's dropping in the cassette tape. Yeah. So job town. What song do you want to hear as you're going?
Okay, man, this is the most unfair question. Like I have my answer, and there's so many. I love music. And music emotionally gets me going. And so there are so many I could choose from. But I will
From Never My Hero.
From Never My Hero. We were like a 2000s rock, so kind of like if you like Creed, then you would like Never My Hero. But no, I would say probably Cadence to Arms by the Dropkick Murphys is my go-to. If a gun to my head, had to pick one. I love the slow start of it is like when the tones are dropping and people are scrambling, and then when it kicks in and that's the rig pulling out and going, and that's it. But there's one thing I want to say. I'll try to make this quick and not too long, which is when I think about this question, when I don't think about it like in the normal, I think of it, how would I score the scene in Backdraft? How would I score the scene instead of what song gets me amped up to go to a fire? And then that makes me want to score. I've scored an entire movie. And so,
of course you have. Of course
right.
you have.
Scene by scene. It's going to be an amazing movie someday. But, and that's what I'm saying. And that's a whole scrap in and of itself. Is just every scene from the movie with the song that goes with it and why. And it's an amazing movie in my head. The chaos that is my brain. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, wait a minute. I mean, like, you've scored a movie. I just like to break shit, and you're scoring movies.
It's a made up movie it's a made up movie in my head. It's not a real movie. So
this goes back to the creativity questions. Like,
I have to create
you're
something.
scoring movies. Yeah.
So
okay,
and it's been created in my head. If I knew how to make a movie, I would make it into a movie. It'd be a good movie.
So what? I gotta go back. Maybe I've been drinking too much wine. What was the answer for the song?
Caden Storms, Dropkick
Caden Storms. Sam, do we have Caden Storms already in the Spotify list? No, we do not. That's confirmed by Sam.
And it's hard not to think like a Volbeat. There's Metallica, like
Volbeat, yes.
For whom the bell tolls. I mean, there's so many. There's some good HU even, like with some driving beats, and so anyway.
Kyle, I'm reading your post. Kyle Kondoff just said truckies can't create. So
that's a fact.
Killer. All right. So moving on to question number 3. Whose boots, past, present, or future, would you like to spend 24 hours in?
Yeah, that's.
And I will say, while you're thinking this thing through, I'm like, man, I want to give him the Mount Rushmore question in place of this, but this is a great question. That's kind of like the Mount Rushmore.
No, it is. I do. There's so many. I've answered this before, and honestly, as you sit here and try to answer, there's so many unfair questions. But I would say part of the reason for my journey is the Book of Andy, and I would love to go back and be 24 hours inside of how he did things and the way he thought, and he was so far ahead of his time. And had such an impact, even though just his writings, and I missed all of that, and I'm Johnny come lately. It's had such an impact. So final answer, easy answer, Andy Fredericks. I would love to see how he thought.
Love it. Love it.
Max points. Yeah. I'd say, I think probably the majority of this audience wasn't around, or at least really didn't have any true understanding who Andy Fredericks was before 9/11, and me included. I wish I would have met him, and I wished I would have had the opportunity to learn from him when he was still here, as opposed to posthumously. So
I love listening to Dave McGrail talk about his relationship with Andy Fredericks. Him and his dad, man, it's just that's fire service history.
No doubt about it. No doubt.
Chief Thompson, did you get an opportunity to meet Andy? And
yes, I met Andy. I did not know him well, but I had met him when I was doing some time up in riding with Rescue 3 in New York.
A fire chief riding with Rescue 3. I don't think you're going to hear that very often, audience.
I wasn't a fire chief at the time, but spent some time with Pete Lund and met Terry Hatton and Andy Fredericks and some big names.
Well, and I wanted to bring it up earlier when you were asking me a question about, when I was talking about imposter syndrome, and Chief Thompson's lecture had such an impact on me, when I first heard it about you're going to fight fire. It's just going to look a little different. You have every opportunity. It's just going to look
That was a Pete Lund quote. Pete
Yeah.
Lund told me that sitting in the fire hat at Rescue 3. He said, you have every opportunity to be a firefighter at the highest level as I do in the South Bronx. It's just going to look a little different. And there's so much truth to that.
No, and it's had a huge impact on me. So I wanted to bring that up earlier, and you brought it up again, and I was like, it's powerful. It's powerful.
It's 100% Pete.
All right, we're on to question number 4. You're retired, Corley, and that's coming up. That's coming up. So
Very
you're
close.
retired. You're sitting on the beach enjoying a Dr. Pepper or Diet Coke. I don't remember what
Coke
you're drinking.
Coke Zero.
Coke Zero. What do you want to hear from the grapevine that the people you used to work with, and how do you want to hear what they describe you to the new hires?
Yeah, that's a man. Whoever came up with that question is a genius.
Yeah.
The vigilantes make up all this stuff. They contribute so much, but no, it's easy answer for me. It really is an easy answer for me. It ties back to what we talked about earlier, and that is I want them to say in some manner, some way, shape, or form that they knew I cared for them, and that doesn't mean I coddled them. It doesn't mean I didn't hold them accountable. They knew that I cared for them, and they would say, Chief Moore, he cared about his people. That's it, man. If they say that, then I won.
Outstanding, brother. Love it.
I mean, we've talked about leadership, you and I, and Chief Thompson, and I think the biggest thing is that if leaders and followers, but if leaders just spent more time caring about their people, showing that they really care about their people, and I mean, there would be a world of difference in our profession.
Hey, I might even go back and change my answer to my son about complacency. With that being said, just make leaders care about their people.
Well,
which would probably fix a lot of complacency.
Yeah. And Corley, this is the scrap, and right now, Chief Thompson and I have control. So we're going to throw another question in before we get question number 5.
It's curveballs.
And this
shit.
question,
Okay.
I think you know what this question is going to be because you can
now.
see it.
Yeah.
The vigilantes want to know. They want to know your Mount Rushmore. So you ready, Sam? Hit it.
Really easy. It's easy because I've thought about this question so much. Now there's 2 different Mount Rushmores, and that one is my personal Mount Rushmore of people that you wouldn't know their names, and they had a huge impact on my life. But easy answers is, and I start with Brian Brush because if he hadn't done those leadership conferences, I would not have met the other 3. And Brian Brush goes up there because of his impact on me personally, which is where I met Mark Von Oppen, who changed the trajectory of my approach to firefighting. And he's the reason I met Dave McGrail, who had such a massive impact on the fight, and the scrap wouldn't exist without those 2 men. And finally, we started talking about him earlier in the show, and that is Ike, who is the embodiment of passion and love of firefighting. And so those 4 men have had such a big impact on Firehouse Vigilance and me personally. So, and again, not a fair question. So, yeah.
Well, you came up with the question. What do you mean it's not a fair
None of them are fair. That's what you realize once you sit on this side.
Yeah. So let's get this straight.
And I did say Crush. That's on. Yeah. Again, that's on me,
dude. Brian Crush.
I can break the rules.
Brian Crush, Mark Van Oppen, Dave McGrail, and Chief Ike. Those are on your Mount Rushmore. Awesome.
Beautiful.
All right, we're going to the last question, and it is the question that we ask every single scrap. You know this question. So, and it will never change. I mean, I know the guy that does the scrap. Chief knows the guy that does the scrap. I don't think it's going to ever change.
He says it'll never change. We'll see.
That's what he says, but we'll see what ends up happening. There is heavy fire and there's searchable space. Would you rather be assigned to the nozzle or first in on BES?
Man, I honestly, I love the question. I do. I love more for the reasons for the answers, but I want the shot at making the grab. I do. I want to dive in the window. I want to isolate that bedroom. I want to extend the search. I want to have a shot at stumbling across them and getting them out. And I really do. I want the shot. So DES all day.
I love it. Max points, baby. That's coming from the truckie.
Right.
Corley, we love you, brother. You have certainly left it better than you found it. The scrap is unbelievable. The books are unbelievable. Your efforts, your investment is unmatched. Please keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of this. And it's truly been an honor to recognize you and all the work that you put into the American Fire Service. And we will come on. I'm speaking for Rob also. We'll come on the scrap anytime that you ask. Give us a little insight. Who's coming up on 301, 302, and then we'll wrap this up.
Let me pull up, and I'll give you a quick rundown. 2 seconds. Boom. Next week, it is Jason Joanitis, followed by Tina Humston, followed by Jonathan Brumley, followed by Mark Davidson, which takes us to Rob Ramirez. So that's the next month or so, all lined out. And there's some amazing, passionate firefighters getting ready to scrap it up.
Well, brother, on behalf of all the vigilantes and all the members of the American Fire Service, I thank you for everything that you've given us, your passion, your commitment, your dedication. You're unmatched, brother. I love you, and keep doing what you're doing.
Corley, I just want to say I love you too, brother, and our friendship. I enjoy talking to you every time. It seems like we talk every couple of weeks or every week, and I love everything that you've done. I love your wife and how she has been a great supporter, and the connection that my wife, your wife, and all the wives have been in. You're making a huge impact in the American Fire Service. You're brilliant. I'll just tell you, you're brilliant, man. You're doing good shit. And
You guys are both okay.
That's
Sorry.
trucky talk right there.
You guys are both amazing. You guys are both amazing. There was nobody.
Sit back and deal with it, brother. It's coming. It's happening. It's happening. Just deal with it. It's happening.
Thank you both for doing this. Thank you for talking me into it. Thank you for being the awesome friends you are. You know I love you both. And
thank you for coming on. Thank you for allowing us to do this.
All right, we got to finish it off the way that we always finish it off. Do you have any last words, Corley?
No, you guys are amazing. I can't thank you.
All right. Remember, everybody, mutts don't scrap. I hope the tone stays silent unless it is burning. Everybody, our job isn't safe, so be smart out there.
Nice.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks for the questions.
Love you all.